Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. Here on this channel I'm trying to figure out what does it mean to live a more sustainable life. Every day I learn new things about our environment and I try to ask myself every time I do something, is it bad for the environment? Is it good for the environment? Is it sustainable? Something I'm trying to do. So I guess just join me in this journey, trying to figure out more eco-conscious habits, learn more about what's going on in the world, and be more educated to take right decisions every day. Learn how to be more sustainable and still enjoy life. And for you to know me a little bit better, let me tell you my story. Like many of you, I never really thought about my carbon footprint on the planet. I was too busy working, making money, climbing the corporate ladder, achieving the wealth. But it all changed when I went on the last-minute vacation decision to Bali, Indonesia. After that trip, I decided to quit my corporate job, the job that actually made me feel stressed, overworked, and not really satisfied with my life. I realized that I was constantly buying things that provided short temporary satisfaction, when in reality I did that because I was trying to fill some void that could never be filled. So I quit my job, I moved to Indonesia, and I decided that I want to learn to enjoy simple things like nature, ocean, real food, real experiences, people, adventures, and not to focus on things. You know how they say that the best things that happen to you in life are not actually things? So I moved to Indonesia 10 years ago and I lived there for 7 beautiful years. Those years helped me to escape the rat race, the consumerism, and really understand what it means to live a minimalistic, simple life. Most of my days I spent outdoors wearing flip-flops, simple summer outfits. To be more accurate, I have to say that most of the days I spent in my bikini sitting on my surfboard in the ocean. And all that made me more conscious about the environment and about the nature. When every day you're surrounded by nature, you can't help but start noticing things. And I did notice some things that actually started to bother me a lot. Ocean was really polluted with plastic. I would go surf, paddle out, and find so much plastic in the ocean. Sometimes some plastic bag would wrap around your leash. I would go dive and realize that you can't really see coral reef or fishes because the water is murky and it has some little like plastic particles in it. I also noticed how Bali was changing with time. I moved there in 2011 and back then Bali was still very slow paced and very different from now. But the more people came to visit Bali and to stay and live in Bali, the more the island was flooded with Western products. So just think of it, years and years before, people would go to the farmer market to do their groceries. They would bring a basket, they would put all the fruits and veggies there and just bring it home. But now what people would do, they would go to these little mini markets where everything will be wrapped in plastic. Would go to the supermarket just to buy a can of soda, and the supermarket staff would put this can of soda in a plastic bag. So the person would leave the supermarket, take out the soda can from the plastic bag, and just throw the plastic bag immediately. And there were many other examples. For example, traditionally, the Balinese, they used banana leaf to wrap their food. So if you wanted to take away some food, it would be wrapped in the banana leaf. So after you eat it, you just discard the banana leaf and obviously it gets composted by the nature. But eventually, the plastic packaging and the plastic cutlery was introduced to Indonesia. So now, no banana leaves anymore. Everything is wrapped in plastic, some saran wraps, and so on. And people would just discard those things, thinking it's gonna happen the same, thinking that the same what happens to banana leaf is gonna happen to the plastic bag. So imagine there would be these beautiful roads along the rice fields, and everywhere on the side of the road there will be piles of garbage, something that people just discarded, thinking it's gonna disappear by itself. And every time you go anywhere, you go to the beach, you go to the rice fields, you swim in the ocean, you go visit some rainforests, anywhere you go, you will see piles of garbage everywhere. I couldn't just ignore it. It made me really sick and depressed for a second. But then I decided, okay, let me start with myself. I'm gonna do some little things. So I started composting my organic waste. I started to refuse plastic water bottles, plastic bags, and all the plastic packaging as much as I could. I started paying extra for my garbage collection, so I was separating the garbage, and then there was a specific company to pick it up and send it to some kind of recycling, because most of the garbage collection in Bali just goes to the landfills. I was even doing beach cleanups with my friends. So basically I was going to Bali to learn like a simple life, to enjoy simple things, but I also learned how it is important for us to understand our footprint, to understand how our actions influence the environment in a bad way. And then in 2018, I moved back to California. And you know what was my first impression? I remember we went to the beach, I remember we went to the national park, and I felt like, oh my God, it's so nice and clean. There is no piles of garbage in the parks. It's so nice. And it made me feel so much better. And I was just enjoying how beautiful is the California. But then I realized it's such a big illusion. If there is no garbage in the parks, it doesn't mean that America doesn't create garbage. If you go to the beach and you don't see the beach littered with plastic, it doesn't mean that there is no plastic in the ocean. And when I was learning more about pollution and other things, I just realized that most of the plastic we produce here in America, it actually ends up in the Indian Ocean as well. We export lots of our garbage to the Southeast Asian countries so they can recycle or just do something with it. And sometimes those facilities let some plastic waste, let some garbage escape, so that's how it ends up in the ocean. That's why the ocean there is more polluted. I also realized that when you live in a big city, it's really hard to understand how our actions affect the environment. Think of it. We throw something in the garbage and our garbage gets collected every week. Basically, we pay to somebody to deal with our garbage. We discard it, somebody collects our garbage, the problem is gone. While it isn't, we never think what happens to this garbage and how we just consume more and create more garbage, but because somebody collects it every way, we just don't see it. And because there are strict rules for people not to dump their garbage on the sides of the road, the way how it's done in Indonesia. So at some point I got really motivated to do better. And to tell you the truth, here in America, I was struggling with being more eco-friendly, being more eco-conscious. I go to the supermarket and I see so much unnecessary plastic packaging. And first I felt really frustrated. I felt like I want to do more, but I don't get the opportunities to do more. But then I realized that I can still do something. Let's say the more people will be aware of the plastic pollution, of the problems that are causing the environment to get much worse, the more people will know about that, the more changes will eventually come. And that's how I decided to start this channel. I want to share whatever I learned so far. I also want to learn more and share that new experience. I just want more people to know what's going on and more people to be not just motivated to do some changes, but actually to be educated what kind of changes should be done. And that is the reason I call this channel, Is It Sustainable? I really want people when they move through the day, just ask themselves, is it sustainable, something I'm doing right now? Is it something that can be done more sustainably? What are my resources right now? Can I afford to be more sustainable? And if I cannot afford, what are my alternatives so I can still do it? I believe that everyone, no matter the situation, can adopt a more sustainable lifestyle. I also believe that there is no one-fits-all solution. Some people do more than others in terms of environment, but it doesn't mean that people who do less are somehow worth or not worthy. I believe we can all do some reasonable changes. Sometimes it's little steps, sometimes it's bigger steps, but just making sure we do at least some kind of steps towards more sustainable life. Also, I believe that there are many ways you can help the environment. There is no one set of rule every person should adopt. And I also believe there are people that are doing much more than me. Seriously, I do get sometimes frustrated that I guess I'm not doing enough, or should I even have a channel if I'm not doing everything that can be done? But at the same time, I always remind myself that we should always do what we are capable of. If we try to stretch our resources, we might survive like that for a second, but we won't be able to survive long term. But if you do small, solid steps, you ensure that you're gonna last longer. And that is what I want to talk on this channel. And also around this channel, I want to create a community of people who are educated, who want to learn more and who want to do more, but who are at the same time very friendly, not only towards the environment, but also friendly towards themselves and towards other people, that we don't criticize other people for the actions they can do. And we learn to understand each other and understand that every situation is different and the resources we have are also different. And most of the time, different situations require different approach. And then we learn to understand those differences, those diversities that exist in the world, and we help each other, we support each other instead of critiquing each other, the way how it often happens on YouTube. I don't know if I will succeed in creating this very cozy but the same community, but at the same time the community that wants to do some changes. We'll see. And if you want to be part of this community, you're welcome to join my channel. Please subscribe. Don't forget to leave your comments, share your experiences, your ideas, maybe your disagreements, maybe your different point of views. The more we talk about the environment, the more people join the conversation, and the more things are changing towards good. So let's do it.